This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Hing.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to You Are What You Love, your window into the future of spirituality. We're going to talk to you about your life and the evolution of your soul while we bring alive the essence of eternal truth. So here is your host, the author of You Are What You Love, Vaishali.
Welcome to another exciting episode of You Are What You Love. I'm your hostess, Vaishali, and today we're joined by our guest, Donna Stellhorn. And we've actually kind of quasi-interviewed Donna, but without her. In the past, we've gone over her book about the Chinese New Year's book about the Year of the Golden Boar a couple of years ago. And in the chat room, if you'd like to join us here at ctrnetwork.com, I've got her website. It's looks like it's fengshuiuniform.com, and she has a YouTube channel, youtube.com/kc/Donna Stellhorn. And those links are in the chat room if you'd like to join me here at ctrnetwork.com and grab and bookmark those websites. And we're going to be talking about Chinese New Year's, and I'm sure we might even Venn diagram overlap into some Feng Shui stuff. But if you have a question that you've always been burning to ask about Chinese astrology, maybe it's understanding more about one of the animals or a dynamic or what this year about or what last year was about, you're welcome to call in at 844-390-8255. That's 844-390-8255. It's also posted in the chat room if you'd like to join us here at ctrnetwork.com. So Donna, fill everybody in on all things Donna Stellhorn. Can you give the listening audience some background about what you've studied, how long you've been doing this, and some of the fields that you've dabbled in to kind of create a gestalt of understanding?
Well, thank you, Vaishali. I really appreciate being on and getting to talk about this energy that's coming up, because I think there's a ton of helpful information for everybody that we can be mindful of. So I've been doing this for a very long time. I go way back to New Mexico, where I had a store, and I wrote for the New Mexico Light, a fabulous publication. And since then, I've written 16 books, many of them on Chinese astrology and Feng Shui. And generally, I'm a Western astrologer, but I feel that Chinese astrology has so much wonderful information to help us in looking at the bigger picture and looking at the energies for each year. And so I think it's enormously helpful.
That's one of the things, whether you're looking at Taoism, traditional Chinese medicine, they do the macro and microcosmic thing really well, don't they, Donna?
Yes, the 5-element system which is part of Chinese astrology, is the basis for medicine, for food and culinary cooking, for architecture. This system is so amazing because the elements interact with each other, which is different than in the West, where we have a 4-element system, and those elements are fairly separate.
And this is a very timely show because Happy New Year! Happy Chinese New Year, Donna!
Yes, indeed. We are entering the year of the metal ox. And so we are coming out of the year of the metal rat. And so in 2020, we experienced that energy, which was kind of like being a little mouse in that hole in the wall. And then, seeing what you wanted and scurrying out, grabbing what you needed, whether that was a piece of cheese or a thing of toilet paper, and then running back to your little hole in the wall.
Yeah.
And now we're going to go into a year of the ox where we are strapping on the yoke and plowing the field. We are rebuilding. And so this is, yes, it's hard work, but the ox knows how to do this work. The ox is incredibly suited for this work, and it's work we know how to do.
And I just want to, for a moment, talk about most people who have gone to a Chinese restaurant and sat down and found the entertaining little placemat that tells them what animal they are, so they know whether they're a rabbit or a horse. They know what animal they are, but they don't understand that there's an element that's attached to the Chinese horoscope in the same way that Chinese medicine has 5 elements: the fire, the water, the wood, the earth. That Chinese astrology does too. So because did you say it was a metal ox?
It is a metal ox year, and you are correct. There are more than 12 signs. There's actually 60 signs because there are 5 different oxes and 5 different rats and 5 different tigers. And this gives some nuance to this energy. So metal is the energy of being organized, and especially with your resources. So as I say, that people who are born in a metal year, they believe all problems in the world would be solved if people would just organize the resources. Now, there is the water sign, and the water sign is that everybody in the world who is born the water sign believes that all problems would be solved if people would communicate with each other. There is the fire sign, which says that people who are born under the fire sign, that everything would be solved if people would take action. There is the wood sign, and that is that all problems in the world would be solved if people would just grow. And then finally, earth, and that is that all problems in the world would be solved if people would just take a breath and pause. And these 5 elements interact with each other. And so we are in now this 2-year metal energy where we are looking at our resources and saying, what do I have? What do I need? And how can I organize my resources most efficiently?
That's beautiful. I love, and it's interesting because all those psychological components are required for a holistic and balanced approach to manifesting what's good based on what's true. And, birthing what's true based on your knowledge of what's good. So I love the way that we need all of these psychological dynamics. We need to come together. We need to communicate. We need to take action. We need to organize. We need to do these things, and we need each other to create that comprehensive psychology that can get that hands-on purpose means result, end goal into motion. So can you talk a little bit about the year of the rat? I wanted to talk a little bit about the qualities of the rat, because 2020 was a very challenging year for a lot of people.
It was indeed a very challenging year. And interestingly enough, the last time we'd had the rat year was 2008, also extremely challenging year. So yes, in a rat year, which is the beginning of the cycle of the 12 years, there is a lot of a reset and a change happening. And of course, we do associate rats sometimes with disease and pestilence in, this whole idea of the Black Plague.
Right.
So yes, we are always vulnerable to that sort of energy during a rat year. Fortunately, oxes are one of the strongest and healthiest of the signs. It is, though, about, when you're taking care of your nutrition, to slow down your eating, to eat a more plant-based diet. That doesn't mean you have to completely go vegan or anything, but that you are mindful that you're eating as close to nature as possible.
Right. And the year of the ox, it's about a lot of work and putting your head down, putting your shoulder to the stone, plodding along, just rolling up your sleeves and just doing the work.
Very true. But this is the thing that Ox natives do. And now we are all Ox natives because we're in that energy. So this is not just hard work, but it's work we love, that we are actually taking seeds, and that is doing new things, starting new processes, meeting new people, and growing that very intentionally. So yes, it is hard work, but it is very fulfilling.
That's exciting. That's very optimistic about what this year is about, because right now we're still in a very tenuous place, not only just the United States, but the world. And the world is looking at us because so goes the way of the United States, so goes the way of the world. And I think a lot of us are looking at being fearful of draconian restraints, but we have good reason to be. It's not like we haven't been getting a constant enema hose of mandated restraints and civil liberties being restricted and censorship that's out of control. And so I think most people are looking at 2021 as, oh my God, am I going to have to do a lot of things I don't want to do? Whether it's get the vaccine or whether it's give up your business because they know the government won't let you open, even though nobody's ever gotten coronavirus from your business.
One of the interesting things is that in the rat year, of course, the rat, being the smallest of the animals, has to be quite aware of their surroundings. Now, ox, which is the second largest of the animals and one of the strongest, the attention now comes back to, what are you doing? This is not so much paying attention to the world and not actually caring about stuff you can't control. This is about putting one foot in front of the other and saying, what do I need to do to have a peaceful, prosperous life? So our attention comes back to what it is that we're doing. So all of this attention on the world and all of that we're going to see lessen considerably in this year.
Oh, that's I'm so excited. Because people, feeling like they have the ability to take some power back in their own life, for them to feel like they do have some ability to be the master of their own destiny. That you can't do work that you're passionate about without feeling like you're the master of your own destiny. It's hard to be passionate about, living somebody else's life and doing somebody else's, slave labor. But I'd not heard that perspective before, Donna, and I'm thrilled to hear it. I think that's really, really exciting and a very optimistic way to look at that as, we move on to our first day of the year of the ox. And
yes, in a rat year, yes, you might be very concerned about what's going on in other rat nests, where the cat is, where the mousetrap is. But the ox doesn't care about the other ox plowing the fields. That's another field. The ox doesn't care what the farmer is doing or what any of the other animals are doing. The ox just says, I am going to do my field. And so this is very much a time of saying, what is under my control? And if it's not, if you can't influence the outcome, then this year it's not your business and you should get back to your business.
Wow. It sounds like it's exactly the psychological panacea for where people need to be right now, is instead of feeling like they're kind of victimized by things they have no control over, to feel like this year is about them finding a clear path back to their own backyard, their own vision, what it means to be true to themselves and the life they came here to live.
And we need to recognize that in times of great change, there is the most opportunity. There is extraordinary opportunity right now because we can, from from the comfort of our own home, from the comfort of the field that we're plowing, reach everyone in the world. And so it is a time where we want to look at the relationship between what we are creating versus what we're consuming. It would be better if we started creating more than we were consuming. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I always felt that from a spiritual point of view, focusing your mind on creativity is probably one of the fastest ways to transform your mind, because you can't be continuing to recreate your limitations and create something new at the same time. My producer, Cameron, just chimed in our little text here saying that he's an ox. So I know for animals that match that year that we're in, is there something that would be useful for Cameron to understand as an ox? What might be the best way to organize his plowing his field?
So the challenge, I think, for ox is that you do know what to do, but you have to do it in new areas. And that is, there has to be some adjustments. Now, that's the challenge for people who are born ox native, because you're so used to doing the same thing, but now you've entered a new 12-year cycle. And so it's like you've been dropped on a fresh farm. You have a bag of seeds, but you're already hungry. And so you are in this time now trying new things. And that means everything from the big things like, is this the right career for me? Should I be branching out? To, maybe you've been using the same toothpaste for 20 years. Maybe it's time for a change there. Maybe you want to pull in some new ingredients in what you're eating, or perhaps you want to reach out to people in a different way. So this is the challenge, because if anything, ox can get so much in a pattern that they end up in a rut.
It's interesting because the last couple of months, Cam has been telling me that he and his wife just have a knowing, they need to move. We need to live in a different place. We need to move to another city. We got to get out of here. We need a different dynamic. And
I'm here.
Go ahead, Cam. Chime in.
Yeah, no, that's pretty amazing, because actually, I first of all, just to say that we've been wanting to move, and we are making an intention to move this year out of Washington State. We're looking at Texas, actually, Houston, Texas area. But I already started. I just finished a course in life coaching through Steve G. Jones, and my wife's already built the website, so we're offering that services to what else we do already with podcasting and stuff like that. And my wife we've incorporated a lot of stuff. In fact, we are changing the name. We're in the process of changing the name slowly but surely. So there's a lot of things that we are changing and adding, and so it's new territory for us. But we're excited about it. It's just getting our footing in it,
Well, your timing is absolutely perfect. Your intuition is correct. Changing the business, adding some new skills, and changing locations is absolutely perfect. But you are in now a 3-year cycle of planting seeds. And so recognize that the success is going to come over a couple of years. So as you plant the seeds, as you perhaps put out the website and maybe advertise on certain platforms, there may be some adjustments that you make in 2022. And as you get into 2023, then you start to see the sprouts. Mm-hmm. And so this, it's Chinese astrology, so it's a longer cycle. So look to right now planting as many new seeds as possible, trying different things, putting your information out on every single platform, and see which ones you resonate with.
Yeah, we are certainly doing that now, and we're seeing what's working and what's not working, and we've dropped a few things that haven't been working and that we're just wasting our time on, and so it's a very interesting thing. We're excited about how things are going. It's just I'm very impatient.
That is perfect, though. You are doing things exactly correct. And as obstacles come up, like if you're plowing a new field, there's going to be occasionally a rock in the way, and you have to stop and remove the rock.
Yeah.
And in that time, use that time to meditate about the direction you're going and where else you can tweak things to make them more efficient or to automate or to streamline.
Oh, very good. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to remind our listening audience that you've been listening to our guest today, Donna Stellhorn, and she has got a YouTube channel, and you can go and watch some of her videos. Her website is fengshuiuniform.com. Her YouTube show would be found at youtube.com/c /Donna Stellhorn. She's got a number of books, and there's a book about your Chinese astrology sign. So if you were always curious on how to do a deep dive on that, why don't I encourage you to check out Donna Stellhorn and her books. They're very easy to read. They're really well organized. And whatever it is that you're looking for, whether you want to look up what animal your mother-in-law is, or if you want to find out how compatible two different signs are, you can always go to her book, and it's in the table of contents. It's real easy to find. It's very, very user-friendly to keep as a resource, to just grab and look up things. She's done it in a way that's very considerate and respectful of the reader. So Donna, one of the questions that was floating around my little fur-covered brain is, you do a really good job of this in your books, is talking about the compatibility of the different signs. In addition to being a huge Bugs Bunny fan, I find out reading your book that boars and rabbits are famous friends, and they really get along, which of course just made sense about the loyalty to Bugs Bunny. But I'm wondering, in the year of the ox, let's say you're an animal that doesn't get along with the ox. What might this year be more challenging for you, or it doesn't work that way?
Actually, it does work that way. And I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say that my website's fengshuiform.com. Yes. Because I practice form school Feng Shui.
Oh, I see. Yes, it is not Feng Shui uniform. Yes. I'm looking at it, and it's all coming. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Again, forget my failing to dismount properly in the verbal gymnastics here. But if you want to come into ctrnetwork.com, I've got these in the chat room. You can come and you can capture them and bookmark them on your own computer. So I'm sorry, sweetheart. You were explaining that it kind of does work that way.
So the opposite sign is the one that struggles. And this year that would be goat or sheep or ram. And it is that the entire world is looking at ox, and so has their back to you. And so this means that to get, love in your life, or to get the job, or to get the promotion, you have to speak a little louder. You have to draw more attention to yourself. And this is a bit of a challenge because goat natives don't usually like to do that. You like to be part of the team and part of the community. And so there is this energy of having to say, look at me, look at me. And so this is a little out of character. Now, this doesn't mean you can't do amazing things, because all of the stuff that you need to do behind the scenes, you're going to be quite good at. But when it comes time to, go on your out for looking for love or looking for money opportunities, you do have to put yourself out there in a more showy way, let's say, than you normally would.
Okay, so it's going to be out of your comfort zone.
Yes, indeed. So, but all of the animals interact with the ox in different ways. So, for example, you are born in the year of the pig or boar. And so there's quite a bit of harmony. You know, the pig and the ox don't compete for food. They don't fight with each other. They live in harmony together. And there's an understanding that, you know, you're at pretty much equal risk, you know, if the farmer's looking for dinner. So there's a lot of ability for you to make partnerships and connect with people with a mutual understanding that, you know, you're helping each other.
They can also sing my favorite rap song, I Got a Big Butt, I Cannot. I'm sorry, sweetheart. You can't take me anywhere. I should have established that at the get-go, but keep going.
So the horse natives, you guys had a rough time in 2020. I mean, most of us did, but the horse in particular, because that's the opposite sign to rat. So this year, you have a much easier time, but the challenge for you is that in the barnyard, you, the horse, which is known for beauty and this desire to run free and to go out and play in the fields and all of that, you could be mistaken for the ox and have the yoke on you and be told you have to do all of this toil and labor. And so there is this energy of having to adjust to new circumstances. And that means that success is possible, but maybe you have to put in some overtime. Maybe you have to connect a little bit more deeply in your relationships instead of just, you know, coming home saying hi and then running off to do, you know, Zoom or Skype with your friends or things like that.
And what is the most harmonious with the? Is it the boar what's the most harmonious sign with the ox?
Well, there are two signs that are quite harmonious this year. One of those, surprisingly, is snake. And the reason is that this is a very practical year. The ox energy is very much about, you know, as I said, what can I control? What do I need to do? This is not about looking at the big picture. This is about, you know, what do I do next? And so snake natives have enormous business ability and they're highly intuitive, but in a practical sense. And I say they're highly intuitive because when you think of the snake, the entire body of the snake lies on the ground, so it can feel every vibration, every shift of energy. And so we see that practical nature come out. And that is that if there's business opportunities or opportunities for success, snake, you will be able to grab hold of those. The other sign that's extremely harmonious is the rooster, the manager of the barnyard. Another of the very practical signs. The rooster has this ability to look at all of the people in their life and say, you know, you would be good at this and you have a talent at that, and to get everybody working together. So the rooster feels very comfortable with the slow moving ox energy.
Oh, is the metal rooster the most OCD of all the roosters?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. Makes sense. And but that's very interesting about the snake being good at business. But what I love is, for most people, their business was completely devastated. So doing your own work, focusing on what you can create, and as far as the personal area of your life of business, this is actually a really good year for you, potentially. The energy is there. The universe wants to put its shoulder to that stone.
And so it is time for us to channel the muse to say, all right, I may not be able to make the money that I was making before through the means I was doing so. So what else can I do? How can I adjust or change my business? Because, you know, in truth, yes, so many businesses were devastated this last year, but this is not the first time this has happened. There has been so many times, even in the last 100 years, where, you know, businesses had to go through massive changes, you know, during world wars, during the last pandemic in 1918, during the Depression, even during the recent financial crisis in 2008 and 2009. So it is about looking at where we could adapt. Now, the rat energy was about adaptation. And when we get into Tiger in 2022, it will be about really seizing opportunities as they come. But now we are in this practical mode of, yes, we are straddling the two worlds of what can I do today that is what I'm used to doing, but also what's the new field that I can plow.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I want to remind our listening audience, our guest is Donna Stellhorn. She's got a channel on YouTube, and her website is Feng Shui Form. And she's got a number of books out about Chinese astrology. So every one of the animals has got a book. So if you wanted to get a book that showcases your particular animal, that is available. And if you wanted to call in and ask Donna a question, maybe you had a question about how your sign might expect to interact with the energy that is this new year of the ox on Chinese New Year's today, you're welcome to call in at 844-390-8255. That's 844-390-8255. So we're right here in the halfway mark of the show, Donna, and I'm glad because I wanted you to have as much time, even if you want the whole rest of the half of the show to answer this question. When I was reading one of your, my friend Sarah has your book about the year of the ox, and I was reading over it. And the thing that impressed me the most about what you were sharing is that the year of the ox this is a workhorse year, even though it's an ox. And you were saying that the horse can often be confused because we do have what we associate with a lot of work as the workhorse. But this is a year where a lot of stuff is going to get done. And the thing that you were talking about is that what the ox is good for is getting a direction and working in it. And it'll just plow and work and do its thing. And the thing that jumped out to me about it is that the most important thing would be to make sure that in this year, because it is all about finding yourself in your field, doing the work, is that the most important thing at that point would be to be facing the right direction, to be plowing in the right direction, to be working the right field, to be working in the right direction, a direction that strengthens you, that expands your growth, that does all those elements you were talking about with manifestation, helps you organize, you can see better, you're motivated. I think I'm overselling it, but you get what I'm trying to say, right, sweetheart?
So I think that a lot of people feel that they need to know that answer, is this the right direction, before they set out. But in an ox year, you set out first and make course corrections as you go. So if you start to see that, now that I'm plowing, this is not going to lead to where I want to be, that's where you make the adjustments. And this is a year that is a much slower energy. Rat energy was extremely fast, and tiger energy is quite fast as well. So now we're in the slowest of the energies. And this is take a step and say, how does this feel? And when I say, how does this feel, that doesn't mean if it feels uncomfortable, it's wrong, because we are going to need to be outside of our comfort zone. But how does it feel in the sense of, is it giving me some results? One of the things to be very mindful of when we're doing things is the environment that we live in. And that is, if we look at the Feng Shui, and what Feng Shui is about is having an environment that supports what our goals are. So, for example, if your goal is to write your novel or to start your business. But I walk in and I see this gigantic television and that just dominates the room. Well, then that's the energy. That the energy is that you come home and you sit in front of the television. So it's, how can you set up your home so it is supporting your goals? I mean, this goes into all the different rooms. If you want to eat healthy, of course, we already know you remove the unhealthy foods from the kitchen. That's basically the essence of Feng Shui.
That makes sense. Because in Chinese medicine, there's, a lot of health comes down to you either have too much energy of some kind or you don't have enough of another. Or function in your body isn't happening because you don't have the energy for it because the energy is going to the wrong place. And when the energy internally is organized, and we have internal Feng Shui, we call that health. Yes.
And so looking at that sort of energy of the house, starting with the front door, is it a welcoming front door? Is there, do you have clutter around? Is it a pile of shoes or a bunch of packages that need to go back to wherever, whatever stores it was? And then also, as I said, setting the tone for what it is that you want to accomplish. So if necessary, that might mean covering the giant TV or finding other ways to remove distractions so you can do what really matters to you.
That's lovely. And I especially appreciate that the best way to be pointed in the right direction is to start moving. You can't be pointed in the right direction if you're not moving.
Well, there's no signs that you're going in the right direction if you are stationary. It is only when you begin moving, and we know this from our GPS, it's as we start to moving, then it reorients and says, oh, yeah, you need to make a U-turn or whatever. So it is until we're moving, we cannot tell. And so I know that can feel like it's a waste of energy, that you have to take steps in a direction, and what if it's wrong? But in this case, we don't want to be stationary, not for too long, because pretty soon the planting time will be over, and then it's summer, and then it's fall, and if we don't plant the seeds now, then there's nothing to harvest.
Right. Sweetheart, spiritual truths is something that I write about a lot in my books. And there's a spiritual truth that I know has set me free a lot of times. And it's one I'm constantly sharing with others because I know it can help them in sharing, setting their mind free too as well. And it's a truth that when you're focused on what's good and true, you cannot create a learning experience you do not need. That there's a lot of things that you could do on the planet Earth, but you can't come to this planet Earth and not create ever constantly self-correcting guidance lessons that you don't need. That you're creating what you need when you need it in your journey of enlightenment, because the divine created the planet this way, created the relationship this way. That as long as you're here, whatever the divine can do to constantly bring you into right relationship with what's good and true, with the truth that sets you free, that self-corrective mechanism is always happening. And so it's lovely to be able to look around and see that truth, in action, in other traditions, or in this case, in, Chinese medicine, Chinese astrology.
Yes, I say it as a gift always comes with a lesson. I think of it as conservation of energy. The universe and our souls wanted the lessons, but when we get here, we say, oh, I don't want the lesson. I don't want to eat my broccoli. So it comes with the gifts. And so as we recognize that, yes, I can embrace the lesson and then I get the gift, then it becomes much easier. The gift, which would be this grand harvest that comes, has the lesson of planting the new seeds.
Right, right. What is particularly challenging for the ox? What is something the ox doesn't like that would be a part of our personal inventory we'd want to take, but this year it might be a little harder to catch it out of the corner of your eye. It might be a little bit, there might be some element of our personal inventory that the ox just doesn't want to take inventory of that. Is that making sense?
Yes, the one thing that all of us will resist during the ox year is change. The fact that we felt like in rat year we went through so many changes, and instead of looking at this as, oh, we had a whole year to practice and now we're getting better at this, right, we look at it as, we had a whole year of this, I don't want to do any more of it. And that's where we're mistaken. That if we can make the shift and say, look how many people who had never been on a video conference before now do it without any problems. People who said, oh, I can't work at home, now do work at home, or who dreamed of working at home and now get to, homeschooling and all of these other things, these opportunities to now give us more options in the future. Yes, those options may feel still limited, but as we push against that and say, what else new can we try? That's what we need to do. And that, I think, can't be, when it comes to technology, we just can't underestimate technology in our future. And so, I know that a lot of us can feel like we need to push back against technology and say it's just too much. But it's like learning another language, right? You don't set out to memorize the dictionary. You instead say, all right, I have to learn a few key phrases. And so when we are in this ox energy, we have to be practical. What is the practical things that we need to do when it comes to technology or our business or how we are relating with people now?
Nice. And when it comes to organization, are we talking across the board, like I need to get my life emotionally organized, I need to get my calendar organized, I need to get my wallet organized? Or is it depend on what the psychology of each person is, that it might be a little over here or a little over there? Or is it wise to look at it as an across the board kind of thing?
Well, you're very wise. This is a metal year and organization is key. The last year taught us that it's wise to have a little bit of an emergency fund, supplies and things like that, because if the external circumstances get difficult, it is better than just to, again, plow your own field. And that means you're not getting concerned about do I have enough of the toilet paper or milk or something like that? How can you get the basic supplies in so that you have at least, a week's worth of stuff so that things that happen externally don't bother you?
Yeah, that makes very earthly, good, practical sense. And it sounds like that in organizing, that is pretty much what the boar favors, is earthly organization as opposed to spiritual organization.
The ox, yes, favors things that are very practical and down to earth. And in our world today, there is more than just, unfortunately, things like pandemics. There's also climate issues and things like that. I saw in Texas that the temperature was going to go down to 16 degrees. That's pretty chilly for Texas. So here in California, we can have earthquakes. I believe you're in Florida where there's hurricanes. We need to think about these sort of things as well. But once we have the basics in the material, we can then spiritually and intellectually be calmer. And that then gives us that bandwidth to do the creative work that we need to be doing.
That's really lovely. That's really, really lovely. And I want to again remind our listening audience that you've been listening to Donna Stellhorn. She's got a wealth of information about Feng Shui. If you've always wanted to know about that, she's got her own YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube and in the search, put her name in, Donna Stellhorn. Donna, spelled exactly as you would imagine it. Her last name is Stellhorn. Donna, do you want to share with people about, what when they go to YouTube and they look you up, what are they going to find there?
Oh, I really enjoy doing YouTube. It's been really fun. It appeals to the part of me that wants to be on stage and still, wants to do it from the privacy of my own home. So it's a great combination for me. On my YouTube channel, I have a lot of videos where I am talking about what's coming up from both a Western astrology standpoint as well as Chinese astrology. And I also have videos on Feng Shui and space clearing. So, and that reminds me, Washali, that space clearing is really important now too, especially as we are transitioning into this new energy. And space clearing could be done by burning sage or using a sage spray, which is where, there are commercial ones you can buy, but where you make a tea out of sage leaves and then spritz that around the house. And this will help clear the energy.
Yes, that has been definitely a time-honored way to raise the vibration of your space and move out lingering residual energies that can build up. And do you get into Feng Shui hacks for different problems or different Chinese astrology things, or is it a whole spectrum of information?
There is a lot of different information that is somewhat general in some cases and then very specific in others. For example, the finding your wealth area in the house, which is your far left corner, but that's not the only place where you can enhance a house for bringing in prosperity energy. I really love the front door. The front door to me is quite important because that's where all new energy comes in. Even if you use a side door or a back door, that would be a place where I might enhance for expected energy. And that is, money owed to you, the bonus that your boss has already promised, or your tax refund or things like that. But new energy comes through the front door. And so this is very important to have a nice welcome mat, or if you are in an apartment situation where we open the front door and we have a representation of what you're trying to attract. That might be, a figurine on your entryway table, or a picture of the beach house you want to buy someday, or a picture of a spiritual master. Something that is saying, this is the energy that I want to be attracting.
Isn't that interesting? I've got 3 pictures of Bugs Bunny down there. By the front door.
And Bugs Bunny is a great icon for especially being clever and being able to get out of any situation. So that's wonderful.
And finding a creative way to usually say the emperor has no clothes.
Yeah, very true. Yes. He was definitely. Actually, the Bugs Bunny is probably a closer representation to rabbit in the Chinese zodiac. People really underestimate rabbit natives, but the rabbit sits between the tiger and dragon and keeps these really powerful energies separated. And so you should never underestimate a rabbit.
Oh, that makes sense, especially when they're cross-dressing, but that's another cartoon. But really interesting stuff, Donna. And I'm assuming, especially if you were like just introduced to some feng shui ideas, this would be a great way to go and pick up a plethora of information and learn it, visually with you giving some great examples.
So yes, the dragon this year, I want to make a note that, sometimes the dragon can have such big ideas that this year you have to kind of come down to earth, and you can find people to really help you implement those ideas if you're willing to bring it down to a practical level, as opposed to, say, monkey natives who, from a standpoint of ox, it's an entirely different world. And so you need to make quite a few adjustments to, say, how can I interact in where the people are. So that might be that you have a business idea, but it's so out of the box that you're going to have to spend all your time in just explaining what that business idea is. And you're going to have to find some way to relate it to what people already know.
Gotcha. I want to give you a quick heads up, sweetheart. We've got 5 more minutes in the show. It's usually a point I like to hand over to you in case there was some thoughts, some ideas, some programs, some specials, some whatever that you have going that are coming up. Just give you 5 minutes to kind of distill or bring out in a very practical earth way stuff that you may want to share and get in before the end of the show.
Well, I wanted to talk just a little bit more about the fact that this is going to be a metal year. And so in that sense, you can go online and you can find out what element you are. Now, if you're also metal, we already talked about that you may tend to be so busy organizing that you forget to do some of the practical things. So you want to be aware of that. If you are born in an earth year, what can happen is that everyone feels that you will be able to help them. And so you're going to have to learn to say no a little bit, because everyone will feel that you're very instrumental in whatever it is that they need to accomplish. As opposed to people who are born in the water year, they are going to find that there's so many opportunities, and whatever you want to do, people will line up to help you. Now, if you are born in the wood year, what's going to be necessary is that you take whatever offer you've received, and you're going to have to negotiate to get it correct. And that is that, someone may say, oh, I have this terrific job for you. You have an opportunity to make this much money, but you're going to have to work this night shift or something like that. And so you're going to have to negotiate for what it is that you want. And then finally, when it comes to people born in the fire year, and that what happens with that energy is that you're going to feel that you can get along if you adjust yourself. So that is that you say to yourself, you know what, everybody seems to want something else. I bet if I go along with that, I will be able to mold the situation into what I want. So there's more about this in my book, and you can delve further in this. This is about how the elements are interacting with each other. And so the big overall take is, as we've talked about before, that in this metal year, we want to look at what are the resources we have and how can we utilize these effectively.
Really, really profoundly useful, perfectly applicable, earthly, practical organizing wisdom here. I want to thank you so much, Donna, for taking time out of your busy schedule to celebrate Chinese New Year's with us and to, help us take our ox plow and put it in our field and just start moving forward with confidence. And what if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, sweetheart, what would be the best way you would suggest that they do that?
Oh, just email me, donnastellhorn@gmail.com. That would be absolutely fine. I love to hear from you. And so if you don't feel comfortable with that, go on my YouTube channel and leave me a comment in the comments section. And then we can chat about your questions. I also do consultations in Western astrology, Chinese astrology, and for Feng Shui. And I give private lessons.
Oh, okay. So if somebody wanted to make an astrology appointment, do they pick one modality, Chinese or Western, or do you kind of give them, this is how I understand your situation from this lens, and if we look in this lens, we get this kind of, like when you get your eyes checked and they say 1 or 2?
Well, Charlie, you're exactly right. It's customized to what you want. And there is on my website, it describes the different appointments, and you can click and see my schedule. This is the idea of, whatever we can automate, we should automate.
Awesome, sweetheart. And I want to thank you for taking your time to come on the show. And if you get this show on the download and you want to learn more about Donna Stellhorn, just go into YouTube, put her name in the search, Donna, spelled exactly as you would imagine, Stellhorn, Stellhorn. And if you're interested in putting your toe in the Feng Shui pond or the astrology pond, this might be a really good quality place to start. And I hope, Donna, that you work your way back over to our little show again sometime in the future, because you're really fun to talk to.
Well, thank you, Washali. I am looking forward to talking to you in the Year of the Tiger.
Yahoo! Yeah. And until we do it again next week, babies, rock on.
You've been listening to You Are What You Love with author Waishali. To order Waishali's book, You Are What You Love, or to schedule a private self-emergent session with Waishali, visit youarewhatyoulove.com. Thanks for joining us, and remember, you are what you love, and you love whatever you give your attention to. So love wisely.